How you doing, everybody? Thank you very much for joining me here on If You Don't Like That. We have got a very busy evening to go over NBA. It's been a good night for the home team so far. The other game that is currently going on, it's almost halftime, about 25 seconds left, and it is 55-52, the Lakers over Minnesota. Orlando, home win, Bucks, home win, and, hey, that's good. You don't want to see all four-game sweeps. And again, now the Lakers and the Timberwolves in a very, very close game with that series tied at a game apiece. NFL draft, round 3. And the big news is that Shedeur Sanders is still available, and he has not been selected yet as the draft is into round 3. Another quarterback went before Sanders as Jalen Milroe from Alabama was just drafted by the Seattle Seahawks. So he's off the board. Milroe, the quarterback out of Alabama, going before Sanders. I don't know what to say other than, I'm asked, how do I feel about Sanders not being drafted yet? You know what? You have 32 general managers and a whole bunch of scouts, and obviously they're not as high on Sanders as some other people, right? I mean, we're talking about 32 teams. Could they all be wrong? Yeah, they could all be wrong. Look at Brock Purdy. Look at Tom Brady. Look at Joe Montana. I can go on and on. So, look at how wrong everyone was on Aaron Rodgers when he went, late in the first round. It happens. So it'll be interesting to see, where he will go as the Houston Texans are on the clock. They're not going to take Sanders. And then who's going to be next? Who's going to be next? We'll see. Could it be the Raiders? Let him grow under Geno Smith. The Raiders have the next pick. Think about that for a minute. You have Geno Smith. Obviously, he's not a long-term solution at quarterback. Bring Sanders in. Let him work with Pete Carroll's coaching staff. I wouldn't think that would be a bad move right here if I'm the Raiders. Is it their number one need? No. They could use a wide receiver, cornerback. I mean, they could use some defensive backs, safety. Those are some of the needs. They obviously got their running back. So time will tell. But right now, the Raiders are on the clock. I mean, I can guarantee you the Raiders at this point in the draft, in round 3, did not think that Sanders would be on the clock. I think that would be pretty apparent. So, do they go here? It's going to be very interesting to see if his name is called here in the 3rd round. All right, again, NBA, told you the story here. The 3 games, 2 in the books, and Minnesota and the Lakers playing. It is halftime right now, and it is 58-54. The Lakers lead the Timberwolves by 4 points. And, you look at this game right now, and you got to get you kind of get the feeling it's going to go down to the wire. LeBron had a big first half with 22 points. Luka did not have a big first half. He did not shoot well, 8, which probably bodes pretty well for the Lakers that they were able to take a lead with Luka not shooting the ball well. Minnesota, meanwhile, got 14 from Randall and McDaniels and 12 from Edwards, 58-54. Again, this series is tied at a game apiece. Patrick wants to know, do I think Pete Carroll's long-term? Pete defies age, so to speak. I mean, the guy's in great shape, mentally very sharp. I could see Pete Carroll being there for a number of years. I don't know how you define long-term, but yeah, I could see that happening. Yeah, absolutely. I can see Pete Carroll being there for a number of years. I don't think it's a 1 or 2 year deal. I think Pete Carroll's a tremendous hire by the Raiders. I think it's, their best hire in a long, long time. I really do. Thumper says as long as Peter's alive and breathing, he's getting up there in age. Age is just a number. If you take care of yourself and you are mentally sharp, he can do a job. No problem at all. I mean, I don't see anything wrong with that. If you can identify with the players, if the players respect you, why not? Coach well into your 70s. Why not? Guy looks great for his age. He really does. He really looks good. Hope you're on your way to a great weekend. Hard to believe it's the last weekend in April, isn't it? Wow. Turn the calendar to May. A lot of great things coming up in May in the sports world. Be interested to see what Scott Perry does with the announcement for his coach. Would it be this coming week or the following week? I still think it's going to be Doug Christie. We've talked a lot about that. He's got a lot of work to do. In all likelihood, will not have a first-round pick. Kings only have, I think, a 3.4% chance of moving up into a top 4 pick. Highly unlikely. So, again, a lot of work to do. A lot of work to do. And, what about the vets? How do they feel? You got a brutal Western Conference. So, James wants to know, do I see Zach LaVine staying? I do, because I don't think he can move him with his contract. So, yes, I do. I mean, that kind of money is going to be very hard to move. Very hard to move. What do you think about Jalen Milroe going ahead of Shedeur Sanders and being drafted by the Seahawks? Very interesting. I like it. Milroe doesn't have to play right away. Get comfortable up there. He certainly has upside. He's not perfect. There are no quarterbacks in this draft that you would go, oh, wow. None of these quarterbacks that we're talking about, Cam Ward, he would have been nowhere near the top of the quarterback class a year ago. Just a different year, different personnel. It's not a phenomenal year to have a top 5 pick. The Raiders select Caleb Rogers. So Sanders is off the board. 6'5", 312 pounds out of Texas Tech. Caleb Rogers drafted by the Raiders. Interesting. Next pick, 49ers. Oh, boy. What do you think? What do you think? What are the 49ers going to do? What direction they're going to go in here? 49ers are on the clock. Cleveland took the 10th rated quarterback over Sanders. Sanders deserves a chance. No, he doesn't deserve a chance. So pro sports. He'll get drafted. It's not like he's not going to get drafted. I mean, come on. That's silly. I mean, he will get drafted. It's not like he's not going to get drafted. I don't know why anybody would think he's not going to get drafted. He is going to get drafted, and probably, I would think, very soon. I can't imagine him. Well, I shouldn't say that. I doubt he's going to fall that much further. But yeah, I mean, you got to look at this, and where's he going to be the best fit? And is he going to go to a good team? Right? Is he going to go to a good team? You have to ask yourself that. Is he going to go to a good team? Because that could make all the difference in the world. If you're a quarterback and you go later in the draft and you end up on a good team, before you know it, you're playing. Could be pretty good situation. Once you're drafted, you're drafted. Once you step onto the field, you step onto the field. In other words, it really doesn't matter whether you're a first-round pick or a fifth-round pick. I talk about this with the Kings when they had Jimmer Fredette, a lottery pick, and as Isaiah Thomas, the last player taken in the draft. Once you step onto the court, it doesn't matter where you're drafted. If you can't play, you're going to be exposed. So, keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. All right, so when you look at the draft, both NFL, NBA, I did a rant on this today. All of the draft grades, analysis, is the NFL draft, and I really mean this, is it the most overrated event annually in our sports world? Is it? Is it? Is it the most overrated event in the sports world annually? I really mean that. I think it is. I don't know of an event that is covered quite like the NFL draft. So the Raiders go defensive tackle, offensive tackle in their back-to-back picks. They take an offensive tackle, Grant, out of William and Mary, and now the 49ers, their pick is in. So the Raiders go Charles Grant, offensive tackle, after a defensive lineman, and now the 49ers have their pick in, and we'll announce that here in just a moment. But seriously, is there an event? I don't know of an event. Jeff says, I don't think so. There were like 100,000 fans there in Green Bay, or maybe more. Yeah, it's crazy. It's just, I don't understand it. Patrick makes a phenomenal point. I compare it to waiting for the ball to drop in Times Square. That's a hell of an analogy. That's a really good analogy. Those people line up at 8, 9, 10 in the morning. So, and I know we cover it because that's our job to cover the draft, and we have to talk about it. But is it monotonous or what? Seriously. Like, the only reason why people are really seriously watching the draft right now is to see where Sanders is going to get drafted. Why else would you watch the draft? Like, why would you watch it? Like, do you know any of these players that I'm mentioning? Did you ever hear of Charles Grant, the tackle out of William and Mary? You a big William and Mary fan? Tristan, appreciate the super chat. The draft grades, NBA or NFL, always just reflect how closely they match the rankings, not much to do with reality. Very true. Very true. But seriously, do you know anything about Charles Grant? Did you even know William and Mary played football? Honestly, I'm not even being cynical here. I don't get it. I don't understand why people are watching the draft right now. I'm covering it because it's my job. And I think it's important to let you know, if you're not following it, who the local teams, even though the Raiders are technically not a local team anymore, but there's still a ton of Raider fans in Sacramento and Northern California, and that's where the bulk of my audience is, although we have those like Patrick in New York and others around the country and the world that chime in, and I'm grateful for your support. But, I mean, give me the Stanley Cup playoffs, which I've been watching tonight. The NBA, I think the Lakers game here against the Timberwolves is going to be a good game. The 49ers have just take Upton Stout, 5'9", 181 pounds, out of Western Kentucky. Cornerback. So Sanders is still on the board. Still on the board. All right. I want to tell you about New Works Plumbing. You have issues, plumbing needs, concerns, you need a repair. New Works Plumbing's great. They'll be there for you. Available 24/7. You got the number on your screen, sackserviceplumbing.com or newworksplumbing.com, NEWWRXplumbing.com. New Works Plumbing. They've got a fix for you. The Denver Broncos are on the clock. They're not going to take Shooter or Sanders. So then what? Then what? We'll see. Very interesting how this draft, after the first couple of picks, has gone. But again, you'd have to be a football guru times 1,000 to know who these players are. Like, anybody know who Upton Stout is out of Western Kentucky? Seriously. Just asking. Just asking. I actually think I watched Stout play. I was at, speaking of Western Kentucky, I believe I was at the Alabama-Western Kentucky game this past year. Now that I think about it, I don't remember him, but at least I can say I saw him play. Bleacher Report got in trouble because they were 2 picks ahead of announcing the picks than the sponsored broadcast at one point in time last night. When you say they got in trouble, like, what happened? Did I see the clip of the Pittsburgh Pirate fans chanting "sell the team"? I did not see that. I did not. Rams need a quarterback and still have a pick coming in the 3rd. Be very interesting. Sean McVay. We'll see. I got to believe that even these general managers who evaluate talent around the clock, probably none of them really felt that Sanders would be available at this point in the draft. Then you have to ask yourself, why is he sliding? And is there something that everyone knows that we don't know? We'll see. Jason wants to know, speaking of Pittsburgh, thoughts on the Steelers not having a quarterback yet? That's probably one of the most interesting angles on this draft, because the narrative was that Mike Tomlin really did like Sanders, and a lot of people thought that he was going to be their pick in the 1st round. A lot of people thought they were going to be his pick in the 2nd round. And here we are in the 3rd round, and we're still dealing with it. You know? We're still dealing with it. Still dealing with it. Again, now the Minnesota Vikings are on the clock. So we'll see. The Broncos took an edge rusher out of LSU. They took Jones. And again, the Vikings are on the clock. Hit me up if you want. If you want to give me a call, you are more than welcome to do so. Here's the link. Just click on that link, or I'll put the QR code up above my shoulder, and that will work as well if you want to get in on the program. If not, no problem. But you can hit me up on the chat line, and we can do it this way. Again, the Vikings are on the clock, and we'll see what direction they go in this NFL draft. I'm just curious, for those that follow the NBA playoffs closely, do you feel the Lakers are going to beat the Timberwolves in this series? Do you feel that the Lakers with Luka now are a legitimate threat to Oklahoma City in the West? I'm just wondering, are they a threat to go to the Western Conference Finals? What do you think? The Vikings select wide receiver Ty Felton out of Maryland. Next up, I think, is the Tennessee Titans. Tennessee Titans are on the clock. But who do you think is going to win that series between Minnesota and the Lakers? What do you think? James says the Steelers are waiting on Rodgers. I think that's a big mistake. I wouldn't wait on Rodgers. If the Lakers don't beat the Timberwolves, that would be hilarious. Why would it be hilarious? The Timberwolves are a good team. When they're healthy, they're very good. They got a lot of talent. They were in the Western Conference Finals last year. I don't quite understand why you think it would be hilarious. Peter says the Lakers are not a threat. I would tend to agree with you. They're not a threat to win the West, but do you think they could win 2 rounds if they beat Minnesota? I'm just curious how you look at that. I'm probably in line with you. Probably don't see that happening. Jeff says Rodgers is terrible now. I don't think he's terrible, but I don't think he's the answer. I just don't. I don't think he's terrible. Tell you what else is not terrible. Sunrise Landing in Calusa. It's awesome. And you can get all the information by going to CalusaSunrise.com. This is a Blazona development project. You can check out their beautiful models, no Mellorews, no homeowners, adjacent to the Calusa Golf and Country Club, good access to the major roads like I-5. Go to CalusaSunrise.com and get all the information you need. That's CalusaSunrise.com and Sunrise Landing. So the Tennessee Titans are on the clock, and they're the ones that got everything started. And it will be very interesting now, for those that are following the draft, as round 4, we're not in there. We're just in rounds 2 and 3 tonight. But what would happen if Sanders would fall to a 4th or 5th round? I hear Stephen A. Smith already comparing it to Colin Kaepernick. That is one of the most absurd, ridiculous, stupid-ass comments that I've ever heard. So, Stephen A., I know, and I don't know what's happened to that guy. I really don't. I really don't. I saw his social media post comparing what's going on with Sanders to Kaepernick. You got to be kidding me. It's just incredible. James says NBA knows ratings matter. They don't want to see OKC versus the Cavs. So you think the games are fixed? That's what you're telling me. Lakers in 7 games. Think the Lakers win in 7, huh? All right. I could see that winning game 7 at home. Yeah. I wouldn't want to have to go play Luka and LeBron in a game 7. That's for sure. I don't. That would be a hell of a game. But if I'm Minnesota, you want to make sure you don't get to that scenario. You got to win this in 6. Some people think the Lakers are a threat. Ha ha ha! You nailed it on the Kaepernick. I mean, it's just asinine, stupid. Stupid. There's no other way to say that. Absolutely absurd. Ridiculous. Looking to see if there's any breaking news here, and there's not. But, I mean, it's ridiculous. I don't understand the point of a comment like that. I really don't. Grant, love the open forum. What are your thoughts on the Warriors with and without Butler? I think without Butler, they're just another team. I think with Butler, they're a special team. I don't think they can win without Jimmy Butler. I think it's pretty obvious the impact that he has had on the Warriors. So, I mean, without Butler, they're not beating Houston. I'm sorry. I don't see it happening. I don't see it happening. He gives that team such a special dynamic. He really does. Gives them such a special dynamic. I guess that's it for the draft tonight, right? Yeah. 3rd round just ended. So that's it. The draft's over tonight. So Shedeur Sanders not getting drafted tonight. And that means that people will be tuning in tomorrow for the sole purpose to see where he gets drafted. I did see this story. It's very sad. 1st round pick passed away a few hours. The mom, after he was drafted, she had a stroke and had several brain surgeries and was hanging on. And he was actually, and I forget the gentleman's name, the player's name. He was actually on the way to the hospital. when she passed. But it was a first round draft pick. Very sad story. Very sad story. But she was able to hang on until he got drafted. I honestly don't know if she was conscious. I didn't read that much into the story. I don't know if she was coherent. I didn't get that part of it. But it's still a very sad story, to say the least. Very sad story. So the draft is in the books, all right, for rounds 1, 2, and 3, and we'll have to continue with the nonsense tomorrow. And I'm grateful I don't have a show on Saturday and Sunday because I don't have to deal with that. Minnesota has come out and played very well here in the beginning of the second half. After trailing by 3 at the break, they now lead 70-65 with 5 minutes gone by in the third quarter. So we'll keep you updated on that if you're not watching the game. This is a hell of a game, this game 3. Big game. Big game for Minnesota at home after winning game 1 and losing game 2. Definitely a big game, this game 3. Big game. Hey, folks, I want to tell you about Connor with Element Mortgage. Buying a home, selling a home. You want a real estate agent that you can trust, right? That's what for me, trust and experience. I want someone that's been there and done it for a number of years. Connor with Element Mortgage has a phenomenal team behind him. Over 100 years experience. You got the QR code right there. Or I'll put the number on the screen for you. 916-505-1006. That's 916-505-1006. Give Connor with Element Mortgage a call you can trust. And again, with a ton of experience, that's Connor with Element Mortgage. All right. Let's check in with Bucks for Life. Go ahead. You're on with Grant Napier on If You Don't Like That.
Hello, Grant.
Hello. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Been a huge fan ever since like DeMarcus Cousins days. Like that's when I became a fan. Oh, Grant, I just had a quick question about the draft. Is that good with you?
Yeah, go ahead.
My question was like, how is a top 5 pick not getting drafted? It's been like almost the fourth round. You
Well,
think?
who said you're only a top 5 pick if you're selected in the top 5. If you're not taken in the top 5, you're not a top 5 pick. Why are you? Well, wait a minute. Why are you so convinced that
He
he's a
was a
top
top
5
5
pick?
pick before the draft.
You know what? He had slid before the draft. A lot of people, right before the draft began, felt that he may not go in the first round. That was the word right before the draft. The day leading up to the draft, a lot of people had Sanders falling and thought that he might not even be drafted in the first round.
But don't you think it has to do something with other than being a football player? His dad, his name, his race, or no?
Well, what race is Cam Ward, who was taken number 1 in the draft, who plays the same position? What race is he?
I know, but like, is
Okay,
his dad Deion
so wait a
Sanders?
minute. So wait a minute. Let's eliminate race right off the get-go. All right, race has nothing to do with this. And I'm going to tell you why race has nothing to do with this. And I want you to put yourself in the shoes of a general manager and a coach. You wouldn't care what ethnicity, sexual orientation, or anything of a player if you felt that player could help you win and get to the playoffs and eventually win a Super Bowl. You wouldn't care what the hell race they were. You wouldn't care any of that. Is that true or not true?
Yeah, true.
Okay, so that race has nothing to do with this. Could it be because of the fanfare with his dad a little bit? Possibly. But there's here's what surprises me. I'm not surprised that Sanders did not go in the first round, but I'm surprised that quarterbacks like Jackson Dart and Jalen Milroe went ahead of Sanders. Now, that does surprise me.
Yeah,
That
that's my
surprises
main
me.
problem, Grant. Like I watch college football. I know they're good, but they should not be going above Sanders. Like that's why I know you told me it has nothing to do with race. That's what That's what I think. But like, no way they should be going ahead of him. It
Well,
has to be something off the
Jalen
field.
Milrow is black. Okay,
Yeah,
Cam Ward is black. I mean, we stop the conversation with race? I mean,
yeah,
look at all
yeah,
the black quarterbacks that start in the NFL and are the highest paid players in the National Football League. We need to stop this nonsense about black quarterbacks. It's absurd. It's stupid, and I'm not going to go there. It's just
yeah,
ridiculous. There is a reason, and here's the other thing you have to remember, Bucks for Life. He will get drafted. And once he gets drafted, he will have an opportunity to prove all the naysayers, and he'll have a chance to show the other 31 general managers that passed on him for multiple rounds that they made a big, big blunder. That's the beauty of it.
yeah, yeah. Hopefully, because I'm a big fan of him. Just it's just ridiculous that I've been watching the job for 3 rounds and
Yep.
he's still not getting drafted.
I understand your frustration. I really do. But understand he will get drafted. He will be on a roster. And at that point in time, he can prove everyone wrong.
Yeah, that's a grind. I didn't mean to come like in a way. I didn't
No,
mean to
no,
bring
no,
like
no.
the race in. I've been watching like the media,
Yeah.
ESPN. They said it has to do something with race, something like that.
Okay, but I've just given you several examples of
Yeah,
why
yeah,
race doesn't have anything to do with it. Now, you don't have to agree with my opinion. You can disagree, and I'm okay with that. But I mean, I just gave you several examples of quarterbacks in this draft that were taken ahead of Sanders that are also black.
yeah. Like especially in the NFL right now, Lamar Jackson.
I mean, come
All
on.
the,
All the top
yeah,
paid quarterbacks in the NFL are black. Dak
yeah. That
Prescott, number
That's why at
one.
first
It-
when I heard the race argument, I said no, that's not true because the first pick was black. There's NFL's black, like
I mean,
other
it's
quarterbacks.
stupid. I don't know why people talk about race anymore. I really don't in the NFL. It's absurd. Again,
Yeah,
look at the highest paid players in the National Football League and look at their ethnicity. I mean, it's absurd.
yeah,
I mean, I don't understand. Look at Deshaun Watson. All right, look at his situation and what he went through. And at the time, he got the richest contract and the most guaranteed money of any quarterback in history. He's black, and look at what he had done. He had 20 plus civil suits that he had to pay off. I mean, we got to
yeah,
stop this nonsense.
yeah. It's just ridiculous. Yeah, that's a grand. Thank you for answering my question.
Thank you. I
I'm a
appreciate you calling.
huge Kings fan too. Hopefully we give it back out after like he's ridiculous. Me and my brother went to the game, just on the court. We were trying to like take pictures with somebody like the players and things. He's just on the way like being a clown.
Who is this? Who is being a clown? I missed. Who is being a clown? All right, we lost him. I didn't get what individual he was talking about. But I mean, it's just unbelievable. ESPN always says to race. Yeah, you're exactly right. Absolutely correct. I just can't believe that. And again, I know he's brought up racing, but he's not the only one. There will be others. Stephen A. Smith's already alluding to it. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. Well, Cody's exactly right. I don't remember many projecting Dillon Gabriel getting selected over Sanders. I agree with that, but it's not because of race. But a lot of people thought that Sanders, right before the draft, they were skeptical of him being a first-round pick. So, 80-75, Minnesota over the Lakers here. 4 minutes left to go in the third quarter. You know, someone brought up the Rams. I could see that being for Sanders. Absolutely. No question. All right, so the weekend is upon us. Again, hard to believe it's the last weekend in April. And something else I wonder, have any of you been out to West Sacramento to see the A's? Every time I see highlights, I see so many empty seats. Like, what's that all about? They're announcing like 9,500 every night, 10,000. There's not 10,000 there. I'm watching the video of all the empty seats. Nobody's sitting out in the berm. I mean, what's, like, it's too expensive, right? Too expensive. Too expensive to go watch a last place team, although they're not bad. But I'm just curious if you've been to a game or not. Every GM said he was a terrible interview, entitled and all about him, and the fact he calls out his teammates. I didn't hear every GM say that, Jeff. I'm sorry. I don't know where you're coming up with this information. Said, I went just last night, Grant. What'd you think of it? And give me an idea of the attendance on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being packed, 1 being no one there. What would you say the attendance was? Not the announced attendance, with your eyes. I'm just curious. 1 being no one there, 10 being completely sold out. Yeah, the A's are almost 500. Absolutely. They're playing pretty well. Oh, good. It was a cold night, but got $34 tickets last minute behind home plate, 16 rows up. Well, that's good. That's good. That one thing about that ballpark, it's a launching pad. That's a launching pad. That's the one thing about that. You know, it's a home run park. Wait till Aaron Judge comes in there. He might hit one over the Tower Bridge. So he would say a 5 for the attendance. Yeah, I'm looking at all the highlights of these games every night. I'm like, where is everybody? You know, is it because it's still April? It's a little chilly at night. I don't think that's it. Is it the cost, even though you said you got a ticket for $34? I'm just curious, you know, just curious. All right. Weekend is upon us. Appreciate your support. Thank you. And we'll see if the Kings announce their coach next week. Don't forget, we'll be doing shows, Ryan and yours truly. Make sure you subscribe. You'll always know when we're doing a show. Please give us a thumbs up. Hit that like button. We'd greatly appreciate it, as we're closing in on May and the Kentucky Derby. That's another event that I just wonder, is there an event in America annually where nobody knows anything about that's as big as the Kentucky Derby? Like, I'm going to ask you right now, don't look on your phone. Could you name me 1 horse running in the Derby this year? Think about that for a minute. Could you name 1 horse? I didn't think so. That's my point. All right. Appreciate you all. Have a great weekend, everybody. Back here on Monday. Bye-bye now.